I don't even know where to begin. I really don't. I have tried. We try out here not to go off. That man, that is the worst mother move I've ever seen. I know we have to do the countdown.
Somebody's selling it
that
already.
Is the worst.
We already know it's
I've ever seen. I have watched this match back with friends, and they were into it until they saw that they could see the gap between Cena's arms and Batista's neck. That is, I'm sorry, when this match right here has the right to use the F word. Fake. That looks terrible.
Welcome to the Third Generation Wrestling Podcast with your hosts, Eric and Rob.
All right. Welcome in, everybody. We are back. It is, well, not quite the biggest party of the summer, but leading up to it, it's only fitting that we do a retro for one of the big four or big five, whatever you believe in. Here to talk about SummerSlam 2008. Your host, the real Big E. My co-host, Rob, the ambassador. How are you feeling, my good man?
I'm feeling good. It was nice to go back and revisit the show. This is one from, 13 years ago it would be. I think I got the right math tonight. And I had forgotten about a lot of the matches. It's always nice to go back and look at shows. I've seen so many of them that I've forgotten half of them, and it's always nice to go back and revisit.
Right on. And we'll get into it, why I chose this show here in a second. But first, I have to acknowledge the fact that we're joined by the host of the Countdown Podcast, MJ Booking. How you doing?
Just hold out for that book part there. I'm doing good. Always good to be on here. And I didn't remember the whole pay-per-view, but I did know this pay-per-view for one match. And I'm sure you all know what that one match is. So this will be interesting.
Yeah. Yep. This was from Conseco Fieldhouse at the time in Indianapolis, Indiana. Little backstory why I chose this pay-per-view. I was at the show. I live in suburb of Chicago. At the time, I lived closer to the Indiana border than I do now. So let's say 2.5 hour drive. SummerSlam's coming up. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I did talk to you, Rob, about potentially going, and it didn't work out, but I still went. Especially, I think I didn't buy my ticket until they booked Batista, John Cena, and I was like, I can't miss that. That's the first time they're doing it. I can't miss it. I'm getting there. That was one of the times I used my credit card, and I don't regret it. Yeah, I drove down the same day. Like I said, I didn't even get a hotel. I drove there, drove back after the show. I had a good time. We'll get into it, talk about the show. Some things I have forgotten about because I haven't really watched this. I own the DVD, but I haven't really watched this show in a long time. There are some, obviously with any wrestling pay-per-view, there's always going to be some opportunities to do better. But I guess we'll get into it. As far as I didn't go back and look at any or do any research they didn't do any pre-shows at the time. This was still, you had to buy a pay-per-view, no network. Sunday Night Heat was a thing of the past. So this was just kind of like either you bought it and you watched it or you went, and that was it. Real quick, anybody want to throw anything out before we get started?
I kind of said mine at the top. I'm just good to go getting into the show.
Let's get this thing going.
All right. Well, start off with Jeff Hardy versus MVP Montel Vontavious Porter. with them cornrows in his head at the time still. I'm going to be giving my perspective as a fan in the stands at the time in 2008. So that would have made me 21. And then I had to come kind of give perspective of me now at 34. During this match, so the section I was sitting in, we were all for the heels, like 100%. So my section was for MVP. Jeff Hardy, however, did get a big pop when he came out to his theme. So I can't deny that. I do remember that. And then the match. Also, the thing I have to note is how loud the pyro was in 2008. So I even took note of match by match who had pyro or whose was the loudest. So for MVP, I get about a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10. It wasn't too loud. I mean, mostly just fire for his, so it wasn't terribly loud. But we're gonna get there. The match, however, a little slow to start, but once they kind of got into it and felt each other out, I feel like it was a decent start. I remember being there. The crowd was into it. They were on every move. They reacted to every counter that MVP did, all the moves that he did. Most of the crowd was for Jeff Hardy, but my section was pretty animated. So it was hard to hear those Jeff Hardy fans. I actually thought this was one of MVP's better matches, just because he started to show some of his repertoire, so to speak, doing the hip tosses, doing the kicks and the counters. And the only thing I think about this match that was kind of out there, and I don't know if they were feuding at the time, but the whole thing with Shelton coming out there just out of nowhere. Didn't understand it. It's almost like Vince said, "Get your black ass out there, do something." That's what...
It's Vince. We know he's not afraid to say other words.
Yeah, well, cause a distraction. MVP at the drive-by kick, and he is the winner. I gave this actually TV quality with my 3GW glasses on. At the end of the day, this match could have been better, and it could have been a better opening for SummerSlam. This would have been a kickoff show match today. So that's why I gave it TV quality, but it would do well on a Raw or SmackDown, I feel like, but not quite a pay-per-view quality match. But like I said, the crowd hung on every move that they did, and that's what I'm giving it. Rob, what did you think?
All right. Well, first of all, before I get into my grade, just a curious question for me. Where were your seats? How were your seats?
Oh, yeah. So I'm sitting horror camera side section, I guess, like 110. So I'm in the 100 section, but towards the top of the 100 section.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. I can see everything.
Okay. I agree with you on TV quality for this one. Like you said, slow start. And it picked up, but I just could not go pay-per-view worthy. This to me was something like you might see on Raw or on SmackDown. Nothing special. I don't know if you mentioned, I guess the post-match. Well, wait, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm thinking of another match. Never mind. But yeah,
no problem.
Average. Yeah, I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, but average, but a good start though. I could see why the crowd would pop for it, and I could see why it would get them ready for the rest of the show.
Yeah, you gotta remember back then, there was a different Jeff Hardy, a different MVP. MVP was a big time heel back then. So
I liked MVP back then, but I was obviously going to root for Jeff Hardy. But back then, I used to jokingly call him Jeff Heavy because he kind of moved heavy for a time. He stopped doing that. I guess it was he just packed on a little extra pounds, so I called him Jeff Heavy. This match was middle of the road. It just did not garner my attention. It was somewhat anticlimactic. It was pointless having Shelton. I mean, I'm sure it made sense at the time back then, Shelton Benjamin. I think there was something going on there, but obviously too far back for us to remember, so it was pointless. I just couldn't get into it. I am glad that this is around the time that MVP stopped using the playmaker as his finishing move, because good God, that thing was so fucking ugly. I mean, oh, it was one of the worst finishers ever.
I couldn't have said that better.
Hint. But it's at least he got rid of it with that kick that is kind of what Roman does on the outside. But it looked better and it had a better name. But at the end of the day, the match just wasn't good. It was just middle of the road.
I can see that. I actually thought while I'm watching, I'm always thinking about Booker. What would he give this?
It wasn't nowhere near an F. It was nowhere.
No. Yeah, I was like, he's probably getting middle of the road. But yeah, thank you for saying that. Yeah, the drive back kick, 10,000 times better than the playmaker, man. That was such a bad move.
Interesting note. Do you know who did that move before MVP?
I had never seen it until MVP.
A wrestler did it before him, and a big name, Randy Orton. That used to be Randy's finishing move.
Wow.
Randy Orton did it first.
Good call.
I would have never guessed that.
I remember distinctly.
As
soon as MVP first did it, I was like, oh man, Randy Orton used to do that. And MVP's is worse.
That's some stiff wrestling trivia right there.
It's the truth though. It was long-haired Randy. When he had somewhat longer hair when he first showed up. No RKO, no evolution, none of that yet.
Gotcha. Got a backstage segment with Santino Marella and his manscaping. Yeah. I never was a big Santino fan. I know that it was a comedy act, and I remember the thing with Beth Phoenix, him and Beth Phoenix, and they were a couple. But yeah, I never was a fan of it. But I do remember going into this match thinking, because it's him and because it's her, they're gonna win. I forgot who they were facing. I remember Santino and Beth, but I forgot it was Kofi and Mickey James. I was like, oh shit, that's who it is. All right, so yeah, the intergender winner-take-all match for the Intercontinental and the Women's Championship, which was interesting because I thought they already instituted the Divas Championship at this point, but I guess not.
Not yet. We're getting closer to it, though, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, pyro level. Let's see here. This motherfucker Kofi had some of the loudest damn pyro you ever hear. I don't know if y'all have been to a show and heard it. It is loud.
Boom, baby, boom.
I gave that shit an 8. It is loud. Okay? Seriously. All right. Getting into the match. Kofi Kingston, Mickey James, like I said, versus Santino and Beth Phoenix. Believe it or not, I actually had fun watching this match. I thought it was just entertaining. I just suspended all disbelief and just had fun with it. And I think the crowd was enjoying it too. There was a lot of shenanigans, and that move, that was the first time Kofi did that move where he runs to the ropes and fakes the suicide dive. That was the first time he did it, and you see Santino jumping Beth Phoenix's arms. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, man, I had fun with it. I'm gonna keep it short. Beth Phoenix hits the glam slam for the win. New champs. Yeah, I gave this pay-per-view quality because it was fun. This would have been a better way to start the show than what did, in my opinion, because it was fun. It was just dumb fun. Something for everybody in the match. Unfortunately, Kofi and Mickey, the real workers, took the L, but it is what it is. Book, what'd you think?
Sadly, this is another middle of the road. I wasn't entertained that much. I mean, it wasn't anywhere around D or F, but I just couldn't get myself into the match. And that frequently happens when Santino Marella is involved. Like you said, I just was never into Santino Marella. Again, I just didn't get it. His unibrow and whatever, all that bull. I just could not get myself involved in the match, and it's odd that the best workers of the match are the ones that end up having to lose. And they had some entertaining moments, but just nothing that I could just get behind. This is something I felt like I was watching old school WWF superstars, just run of the mill matches I just kept seeing so far. So at this point, pay-per-view wasn't looking that great. It was middle of the road pay-per-view at this point. So match, middle of the road.
Pay-per-view quality for me. This is a match I had forgotten about. And so when I'm watching the build-up backstage, Santino with his unibrow, with Beth Phoenix, I'm like, okay, yeah, I remember these two when they were together. I remember he referenced his breakup with Maria Menounos, who was doing the interview. So I'm thinking, and it's an intergender match for both titles. It sounds kind of hokey, but you know what? Once the bell rang, I really was entertained. You did have some good workers in this match. You had 3 good workers, okay? Santino, not so much, but he's there for the comedy relief, and I thought he provided enough of that, but not too much of that. Big E, you referenced when Kofi went for the suicide dive and Santino jumped into Beth Phoenix's arms, kind of funny. And the match itself, I enjoyed Mickey when she was going with Beth. And then there were times when you'd see Santino, I think he was in there with Mickey a couple of times, and Kofi did his thing. It was an enjoyable match.
I'm glad you just said that because I forgot. They had the mixed match challenge, which was pretty much based off of this match. Okay, this was the first one. Michael Cole specifically said in this match,
Geez,
yes, a man can go against a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, that's never been the case. Never. So, but I did enjoy the DDT that Mickey James gave Santino's goofy ass. I did appreciate that. And he sold the shit out of it. That's all he was good for. That's it. And of course, the thing why it's funny with Santino and Beth is because everybody believes that she's stronger than him. That's not hard to believe. So, okay.
Then after the match, she's carrying him on her shoulders.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep. All right. This one was a little awkward, weird to go back and revisit this segment. It's a little, and it's odd to have a pay-per-view with a promo in the middle of it. And it was announced. We knew this was going to happen. Shawn Michaels deciding what he was going to do. He's still with this feud with Jericho. They renewed that. They had that brutal match at the Bash the prior month, and Shawn Michaels had the eye injury. So pretty much came out with his wife Rebecca, and we're doing the whole "I'm retiring" thing. I'm going to listen to the doctors. Yada yada yada. Chris Jericho interrupts, comes out, and I gotta give it to him. Shawn really sold it. I mean, people were crying in the audience. They bought in. His wife was crying. So I mean, they really sold the hell out of this thing. Then Chris Jericho, man, pretty much the long and short of the whole thing is Jericho been chasing Shawn and has wanted to be Shawn. That's his idol. And the promo ends with Shawn telling him, "You can go home and tell your kids you'll never be the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels." And Shawn walks away. Jericho goes to punch Shawn and accidentally punches Rebecca instead. Now, I'm at the show. I'm sitting close enough to see everything. He really punched her. You could see it from where I was sitting, and it's even in his book that he really punched her. You can see after the fact her lips swollen, part of her jaw swollen, and he wrote in his book that the look you see on his face, Jericho, wasn't an act. He was legitimately scared for his life. But he was trying to, stay in the segment at the same time. He said that when he got backstage, that nobody said a word because they were just that disgusted with him that he had actually hit his wife. He said that he had spoken with Sean beforehand about the spot that they were going to do because he's done tens of thousands of work punches, right? Just messed up. That's all you can chalk it up to. He messed up big time. So it was I remember being a weird feeling in the arena after that because it was kind of like went from crying about Sean to seeing his wife get punched in the face. Well, we are at a wrestling show. It's just nothing you ever want to see. So, to me, it was the lowest point of the night, and that's even considering the next match. So, but real quick, I'm gonna throw to you all, Rob. I'm pretty sure I know what you thought of it, but
I don't know, man. I don't know if people are going to hate me or what for this. I thought it was all pretty compelling TV. I'm sorry. Now, I did not know that he had actually hit Sean's wife, but I do remember watching this live. When the punch happened, I thought, well, it looked good, but obviously he didn't really hit her. I know I'm watching wrestling and I know we're seeing a scripted story. But then they got a close up of her and her lip was swollen. And I'm like, how could they have done that? Her lip wasn't swollen before, and now her lip is swollen. I'm like, she must have actually gotten hit. And it was kind of at that point that I was a little got people emotionally wrapped up. And then when Jericho came in, I had no idea that he would try to punch Sean and that he would hit his wife, and allegedly, according to what you're saying, actually hit his wife. So that puts a little different perspective on it for me, because you never want to see that happen under any circumstances, and you never want to excuse that. I'm sure it was an accident what Jericho did, and I could kind of tell by his reaction, because even though he's the heel in that moment, he's not walking out of the ring smiling or gloating about it. To me, it almost looked like he was upset at as upset as what happened as the rest of us. So, but it all made for very compelling television. That segment was more compelling than a lot of these matches.
Oh man.
It was. It really was.
Oh shit. I know, but I'm just saying I didn't expect you to say that. Hey,
I'm not saying the rest of the matches.
No, you're fine.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
but
for
the segment
people,
was good. Outside of the actual punch, the segment was very compelling, very, very compelling to watch.
Yeah, we keep it real around here. If you're new to the show,
yeah.
Here's the thing. I remember the punch, and I remember seeing it back then. And the first thing I thought was, okay, that was real, because I've seen enough wrestling punches. That didn't look like a wrestling punch. It just didn't. So I'm like, okay, I think she just took a punch, and then didn't know for sure until she's walking out and you see she's swollen. I'm like, okay, now I know she took a punch. And so part of me was thinking either this was a horrific accident, or for some reason these three got together and decided this is what we're going to do. And she decided to take a punch, because he did take a little off of it. He didn't full-blown cold cock.
Yeah.
Now, I don't subscribe to that opinion, but I have heard people who say maybe she was in on this, and because he did take a little off of it, which that I do see. He does take a little off, But I signed to the fact that this was just an accident, that he wasn't meaning to actually hit her. And the look on his face, he was either legitimately horrified, or Jericho is one of the greatest actors we've ever seen in our lives, because he completely sold it. So
he looked
wrestling.
like one of my kids that got caught with their hand in the cookie
jar.
Okay. Yeah.
I
like,
mean,
seriously.
It is wrestling, so you can only take it for what it's worth. It could have been planned. It could have been legit. Who knows? I would prefer to think that they didn't mean for this to occur, but you never can tell anymore. You just can't tell. Wrestling is capable of anything.
The plan was for that to happen, just not contact. That was the plan, because they wanted to build the heat with the feud. It's just the contact was the only thing not it's, and I gave Jericho some slack. You see, I didn't beat him down too much for it, because he's used to working with wrestlers that can, if I don't pull it enough, you can take it. Not a big deal. Just give me a receipt if it was too much. But now you're dealing with somebody's wife, who thankfully has been with the wrestler the whole time, knows the deal. So I'm sure it wasn't a thing. Shawn Michaels blamed himself for putting his wife in that position and making her part of the story. But, shit happens, man. Shit happens. And not to make the pun, but
speaking of shit,
somebody gonna get the ass kicked. Somebody gonna get the wig split. Somebody got an easy payday, because you didn't do shit. Mark Henry versus Matt Hardy. And I am so sorry, Book, because I feel bad. This is the serious, most bastardized brand of any company I've ever seen in my entire life for the ECW championship. Yeah, this match lasted all about 30 seconds. What's his name? Got involved. Disqualification, match over.
What, Tony Atlas? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah. I almost called him something else.
You can call him that too.
Yeah. Match over, and they beat down Matt Hardy. And this is what Rob was indicating earlier. Jeff Hardy came out to help his brother. And yeah, bunch of bullshit. But unfortunately, it doesn't even get bullshit, because all this, including that whole brand of ECW, can go fuck itself. Okay, just get this shit off. I remember being there going, "What the hell was this?" And they had the nerve. Mike, Matt, Stryker, whatever, had the nerve to say this is the ECW main event. Get the fuck out of here. Ain't no main event with ECW. That ECW. So yeah, nothing else to say here. I'm saving you, Book. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I gotta go GFY. Go fuck yourself on this one myself. The match was only 30 seconds, but you know what? I'm glad it was, because it was just terrible. It was garbage. But then why even have the match? And for it to end in DQ, and I'm not as big a fan of ECW as Book is, but I'm a big ECW fan. And what they did to that organization, it's a travesty. It's a travesty. And this match is an example of that. And so, yeah, I gotta go fuck yourself on this one. No other way to go.
All righty. First of all, I'm going to correct you both. Don't you dare call that ECW. That is WWECW, or call it ECW Light. Do not call that ECW. That is not ECW. Now,
You're welcome, Fireball. Send us some money.
We gotta get a sponsorship going here.
Yeah.
What to fucking grade that? Are you fucking kidding me? Come on. Seriously. Come on. Everybody, say it with me. Say it loud. Say it very extremely proud. That was a flaming motherfucking dumpster fire of a fucking F. Give me a break. First of all, I always hated that WWECW belt, which is
that belt's
which is
hideous.
ugly. It is hideous. I have the real ECW belt, a copy of it, obviously. That is ECW. That shit there is WWECW. Fuck you, Vince McMahon. That bullshit, that WWECW was extremely offensive. And to this day, I have never forgiven Vince for that. The backstory to all that is so far more interesting. Shane McMahon had better ideas for the real ECW than Vince did. Vince made it that bullshit, and we all knew it was going to be bullshit when the first thing you saw was a fucking zombie. So,
yes, I remember.
I'll never forget. I'll never
I
forget.
remember.
A fucking zombie walks out, and Sandman canes him to death. I'm sorry, but this is disgraceful, disgusting. I could go on all night, but I better stop. But absolute fucking F, the absolute one of the lowest points ever was this. And I even went to a WWECW show. Rob, I think you were there with me. It sucked. The champion at the time, who was Bobby Lashley, he wasn't even there. So just the whole brand was ridiculous. Thank God it's dead. Its only good points were some of those stars it brought up, like Sheamus, The Miz. A lot of these stars came up, and of course, CM Punk. But other than that, this is a fucking F. Fuck you, Vince.
I guess we won't ever be doing
December to Dismember? No, I actually own it. I own that.
Why?
Because it's so bad that I was like, I gotta own this. This is such a bad pay-per-view. I just want to own it.
Bad.
We're not gonna do that. I'll be screaming way too much. I'll be screaming way too much, man. I'll run out of beer.
Oh man.
A whole lot of fireballs.
I almost want to watch it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay. All right. Let's keep it moving, people. Let's keep it moving. To that racist JBL versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now this was a time in WWE where the championships were secondary and the feuds meant more than the championship. And I can remember even a documentary, CM Punk's documentary, where it was ironically the Game talking about it. And at the time he was an active wrestler, so I know it wasn't his decision, but Vince's decision to say, hey, yeah, we're going to give this thing to you, but you're not really the champion. Like, we're not going to main event anything. But yeah, you're the champ. Go ahead. Which you could kind of tell because I noticed during this time that Punk turned up his wrestling pretty much. Like all his matches told a story. This one started kind of slow for me, and I'm sorry. Like personality aside, JBL looks fucking terrible. He's got man titties. And then he got the nerve to come out there and still try to do the clothesline from hell. So CM Punk has to work with this. Well, he did the best he could, and I thought it was decent. I remember being there at the show. It was kind of the lull in the show outside of the last match. You know, if you're actually going to watch a real match, it was quiet. I'll put it that way. It was quiet in the arena.
Could tell.
And I don't blame Punk. Punk's entrance was loud, but after that, it was done. So I just gave this one middle of the road just because it kind of was. The crowd didn't really care. And I blame a lot of it on JBL because at the time he sucked. He sucked. So I don't know how else to put it. I couldn't stand like this. He was the Baron Corbin of now. That's the best way I can put it.
I wouldn't go there.
Yeah, I would.
He was
For
bad,
me.
but not that bad.
For me, he was the Baron Corbin of now. Although I don't think Baron Corbin's a racist, but okay. Book, what'd you think?
Well, obviously, love my boy CM Punk, of course.
Oh boy.
Yeah, gotta bust these out, baby.
Are you bringing those September 5th?
Yeah, just in case. Just in case. But
Well, you'll know by then.
Yeah, we'll know something by then. Probably he might already show up by then, but and he probably will. But as far as this goes, yeah, this was middle of the road, and it's not CM Punk's fault because the crowd, as far as CM Punk goes, they loved CM Punk. You were hearing the CM Punk chants. They loved CM Punk. Bradshaw got no reaction as he came out. I just didn't hear anything, not even boos, just nothing. So that sold me, okay, this is just bad. And back then, I used to call him, just as a nickname, Just Boobs Layfield, because he was all boobs at this point. And and just the proof of how horrible he is. It was an accident, but he cracked CM Punk in the back of the head when he fell on the back of his head. I mean, Bradshaw is at this point was way past his prime and needed to immediately leave the ring. CM Punk, sorry, this is middle of the road. I desperately wanted to give this TV quality because I love you so much, because it's no fault of yours that you had boobs in there with you. But the best thing is you won the match. Boobs didn't get it. And there was CM Punk chants. Other than that, middle of the road, which I don't know if I've done this many middle of the roads in a pay-per-view. I mean, this is 3 of them, except for another F that I did. An F I just did. So obviously this pay-per-view is not agreeing with me at this point.
Well, I went TV quality. I enjoyed it a little bit more than both of you. Like JBL is JBL. Dude ain't never really had that great of a physique, but I enjoyed the JBL character. Yeah, he was a little racist. I didn't mind that either. I love a good heel. We know wrestling is entertainment, but unfortunately we live in a politically correct society. You couldn't have a JBL today. You couldn't have a Roddy Piper today. And that's probably why there are really no great heels today, because society's just gotten a little soft and you just can't do the things you used to do back then, even though it's entertainment. We know it's just entertainment. It's not real, but you can't even entertain people and make it too touchy, or else people get sensitive about it. Anyway, look, JBL wasn't a good worker. He wasn't. But I thought CM Punk did enough for both of them to make it at least TV quality. Yeah, that gash that happened on the back of Punk's head. At first, I had to go back and watch and find out what that was all about. And then I saw, yeah, JBL cracked him in the back of his skull, inadvertent, I'm sure, because he's cracking his own skull too. I'm sure he didn't mean to do it either way. It was careless and it happened. But I didn't think the match was horrible. I thought it was decent, so I gave it TV quality.
JBL makes me think of Uncle Ruckus.
Me
From
too.
Boondocks.
You don't watch Boondocks, do you, Mike?
I know who it is. I've seen the YouTube vids. I've seen YouTube vids. I know who it is.
And the one you just sent about the dude in court.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I can hear right now.
I knew who it was.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's yeah. Uncle
That nigga's guilty.
Yeah.
I got the rope right here.
That brother cracks me up. Uncle Ruckus.
I got the rope right here.
Oh shit. Oh man. Okay. After that, ladies and gentlemen, It's time
Hmm.
to play the game. Triple H versus the Great Khali for the WWE Championship. And let me tell you, I'll say second to John Cena, Triple H had the biggest pop of the night. Crowd all over it. And it was the first time I saw people actually dancing to the game as, you know, the song as he's coming out. And Triple H has the smoothest walk when he comes out because from where I was sitting, I could see when they come through the curtain. And he just walks out. And I just was in awe, man. Anytime I got to see Triple H in person was great. Till I see him with that fucking belt. So out of place, especially now looking back. I think at the time we all were just brainwashed, most of us were brainwashed and used to looking at it, so it didn't bother us as much. But now, looking back, why in the fuck didn't y'all change that design as soon as Cena dropped the belt? That thing looks absolutely fucking ridiculous. And I hate to say that because
keep going.
Rob and I are pictured with that same fucking belt.
Disgraceful.
So it is what it is, though. What can I say? The crowd participation, though, in this match, they were 1000% behind Triple H. They were bought in. The Vice script, when Great Khali got it on them, everybody was into it. People were standing up, losing their minds. The times that Triple H tried to hit the pedigree, we were all waiting for it to happen, but Khali just kept overpowering him. Obviously, Great Khali has his limitations. He can't really do much. This is all Triple H. And more so, kudos to Triple H, because who the fuck can understand Great Khali when he's talking? So how are you even calling this thing to make it look as smooth as it did? Not a single botch. Everything flowed, but look who it is. It's Triple H. It's the game. This is a pay-per-view worthy match. Triple H finally does hit the pedigree and retains the championship. Crowd, I remember, popped huge when he hit that pedigree finally. As ugly as it was, finally hit it. And yeah, I gave this pay-per-view worthy. Definitely. Even now watching it, I was into it. And when I watched the video package, I remember that I owned this shirt. So I had to dig it out the crate, dust it off. Bust it out for y'all. So yes, the game. Pay-per-view worthy per usual. Ambassador, take it away.
Well, I'm sorry. I went TV quality on this one. Had nothing to do with Triple H, and Great Khali performed better than I thought he would, but just not good enough. I just was never a big Great Khali fan. The Hall of Famer Great Khali. If you can
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Yeah. The chop and a couple of other moves. I mean, Triple H did everything he could to make a compelling match, and he almost did. And it wasn't a bad match, but to me, not worthy of pay-per-view quality. I could only go TV quality, but it had nothing to do with Triple H, who's always the game.
Oh boy. First off, as far as Khali, probably holder of two of the worst finishing moves ever. The old crush cranium thing, as the old Crush used to do. And of course, that dumb brain swipe when he just hit you upside the head, which of course he did that on the outside. But, oh boy, I am going to have a buzz because here we go. Once again.
Really?
I can't
for this? Come on, man. Not this.
Through no fault of Triple H, who practically sold his future ancestors, his past ancestors and his future children for this match, because he had to do a whole lot of selling to sell the Great Khali. But I'm sorry, this, plain and simple, was a fucking F. This pay-per-view was shaping up to be one of the worst I had seen recently. This pay-per-view has been pure, unadulterated torture. And at this point, Eric, I was sitting wondering, why the fuck is Eric making us watch this shit? And I'm sitting there thinking there has got to be a reason that I'm just not aware of, because this shit ain't good. This shit is not good.
Come on,
Now,
man.
I know you were there, so I get it. But this has been torture. Pure torture.
This match wasn't that bad.
It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. I wanted to fast forward. I wanted to fast forward it. Kali is terrible. Terrible.
He is. No argument here.
And the fact that that goof is a Hall of Famer is ridiculous. I mean, there are some celebrities that deserve that way more than Kali. But this was just torture. I felt bad for Triple H. And I am so glad you commented on the fucking belt. I've never liked that thing. I've always hated that damn belt. It's disgusting. It's ugly. That Wigger belt is the worst belt ever. You'll never see me buy that. And of all people, Triple H looked the absolute worst with it. It does not work. When he wears it, you would look at it and you'd be like, are you a clown? Suddenly you look like Doink the Clown walking to the ring. And you're doing your pose. I just laughed at you. You don't look right with that belt. That belt is the ugliest thing that has ever existed as far as a belt. And they needed to change it. They never should have went to it even with Cena. The thing was ugly then. But when you kept it, you just made it worse. So thank you for mentioning that belt. That belt, by the way, also gets a fucking F. The whole thing was a fucking F. So let's just say I ran out of beer to get through this pay-per-view. It was bad. It was really, really bad.
Well, I had to beg the deal for sir. I didn't think it was that bad. Yeah. I mean, yeah, those things that you pointed out, obviously I feel the same way. But I have to give kudos to the game. It's hard to give the game an F or anybody an F when they somehow make a match decent. And the crowd, again, I was there. The crowd was into it. But it plays a factor into the match. It does. As well as the next one. This was the one that made me buy my ticket. I bought my ticket for this match. First time ever. Ironically, both of these men are in Hollywood. The theme of this SummerSlam. Going to the movies. The biggest blockbuster of the summer. Dave Bautista versus John Cena. Their movie careers have gone different paths than their wrestling careers. Say what you want. I felt like Batista put in the work to be the man, to be the guy, to be the face of the company. He did it the right way. He came up through OVW, studied under Triple H and Ric Flair, did it all the right way. Fans loved him. He was regarded worldwide. Then you got John Cena, who still is pulling his nose out of Vince's ass. Okay? So needless to say, my favorite going into this match was Batista. Rob and I had just met him a few months before. So it was no question I was going for Batista. And I was so scared going in this match that they would just do the go the easy route, book John Cena to win. But I remember going to the show telling myself, Batista's gonna win. Batista's gonna win. My whole section, my whole row was for Batista. This was the most interaction between the people in my section and the people sitting below us were Cena fans below me. And my row was all Batista. So it got a little heated up there during this match.
That could happen.
Now, talked about Pyro. Scale of 1 to 10. Batista is a fucking 10. Jesus Christ, how is he not deaf?
Yeah.
His shit is loud.
It's loud. It's loud.
And it's long. It's not like just a quick boom and it's done. No, he stands there for at least 10 seconds and it's going off. And he's right behind it, right in front of it. I mean, it's right behind him. And I have never, and think about how many times he's done that. For years, he did that intro. Fuck, man. I mean, you can feel it in your chest when this shit goes off. It was 50-50, honestly. When they both came out, they both got pops. The crowd was into both of them. Watching the match now at 34, I thought, and especially now that we've done WrestleMania 26, their rematch, watching this one, this was way leagues better than that match. This was like kind of nonstop action. I was loving it. They were going back and forth. Batista even used the jackhammer, which I couldn't even believe. I forgot he did that. He used the figure four. So I felt like, and I was watching the match, and the people in my row felt like Batista's using real wrestling moves. And John Cena is just doing whatever.
It's 5 moves.
Can't see me. All that shit. And I was really into the match. The counters, all that stuff was great. Until that fucking STFU. And I really almost told this match to go fuck itself. Get the fuck out of here with this, man.
It's bad.
It hurts, right? I don't even know where to begin. I really don't. We try out here not to go off. Fuck that, man. That is the worst motherfucking move I've ever seen. I know we have to do the countdown.
Somebody's selling it
that
already.
Is the worst
We already know it's
bullshit I've ever seen. I have watched this match back with friends, and they were into it until they saw that shit. They could see the gap between Cena's arms and Batista's neck. That is, I'm sorry, when this match right here has the right to use the F word. Fucking fake. That looks terrible.
Ooh, the dreaded F word.
Now, back to our Register Canada program. When Batista caught him off the top rope, as a fan in attendance, that place exploded because nobody saw that coming. We were expecting the leg drop. Caught him, powerbombed him. He kicked out, and it was pandemonium. Because then we all thought, oh, fuck, here we go again. Cena's going to win. But no, Batista just hulked up. Batista bombed his ass through that mat and pinned that motherfucker through that thing. And match was over. I was almost back in the arena. This, to me, because of the emotion in the arena, because of the emotion in the row, and because, obviously, the emotion brought back, I almost would have given this, instant classic. Almost. It was the first time they had met. I would have given it that because of all the factors. I will give it a superb because I was there in the arena and the atmosphere was electric for that match. John Cena, though, to this day, fuck you. Go ahead, Book.
Wow. How am I supposed to
I feel like I
follow
just
that?
heard Book.
Yeah, how am I supposed to follow that, man? I'm the one that's supposed to be doing all that crazy shit, man. Okay. Obviously, Rob and I saw this match at our WrestleMania, and it wasn't good there. Was it better Yeah, it was, but not by that much. So this was some bullshit. I'm sorry. These two just don't gel well. I've never thought they gelled well together. One, and you said it, that fucking STFU. Anytime you see it, it just destroys the match. And this might have been one of the worst Cena ever did. There always has been a space. But the space was, it looked like at times you could have fit another head in this space. It was so ridiculous, so obvious. And it's like, and I'm supposed to believe Batista's losing consciousness at this. I'm like, I said what Triple H had to sell his children to prove that it was a match. Oh my God.
Triple H, not to cut you off. Triple H, if you watch that match with him and Cena, gave Cena his arm to say, look, man, at least make this shit look like it hurt.
Yeah, I know. Batista's selling like crazy to make that thing look effective, and it just does not look effective. After that, Batista had his own little submission move that was equally pathetic. It was bad. It was just not good. So the whole match was bad. I did like the fact that, the crowd seemed to be into it. I did like, there were some moments that, that jackhammer, that was obviously funny. But overall, those two just... chance. I know. Overall, though, I just was not entertained. These two hulking behemoths for me, their styles just did not match. I didn't enjoy it. So it was some bullshit. And again, this pay-per-view has fucking sucked, and I will never watch this a pay-per-view again. Thankfully, I don't have to, because there's only one match I remember, and that match I have on DVD. In fact, I have it on 2 DVDs. So I never have to look at this thing again. A fucking bullshit. This was just horrible. I hated it. I never want to see this match again. And Rob, go ahead. I'm sure your rating is better than mine.
Yeah, it is. Once again, look, we like different opinions on this show, no matter how ridiculous they are. Everybody's welcome. This was superb, despite Cena's awful STFU. I know WWE doesn't like to mention his name, but man, when Chris Benoit had that crossface on, he made it look like he was going to tear the other person's face off, like he was going to rip their head off of their body.
Yes.
How hard is it to do that? All right, and if you can't do it, then don't do it. This is a huge match on a huge card, and this ain't your first rodeo. That was just terrible, terrible, terrible. And it could have easily brought my grade down. But look, I always say I'm not as big of a fan of the bigger guys as I am the small guys, because I don't believe they have the repertoire of moves that the smaller guys do. So maybe all of the holds were just a mistake. But when the guys just did what they're supposed to do, just got physical, did the big moves, the big spots, the power bombs, and with the exception of Cena, I think it was called the FU back then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Later called the attitude adjustment. Still not an effective move, just terrible. But Batista did his thing. I'm not as big a Cena hater as most people, but in this match, dude just didn't do well in this match. If Batista hadn't have performed as good as he did, this match could have been, I might have gone with book and been some bullshit, but Cena did just enough. Batista did more than enough, and I was invested in this match. Like you said, we had just met Batista a few months before. Big fans of Batista. This is the first time him and Cena are wrestling. And of course, going into this pay-per-view, like most people, I'm thinking they're not going to let Batista get over on Cena. But I'm watching it, I'm invested, and when Batista gets over, it took me back to that moment of how excited I was to see somebody. They finally let somebody get over on Cena in a big match, on a big show. And so I popped for it. It took me back to that moment, and so I had to go superb.
Yeah. 2 things. It's more infuriating because you have guys, these big matches, that want to sell for you have no problem selling for you. But goddamn, can you at least make it look like it hurts? You use the best person possible for that move. Chris Benoit. I have seen
Sasha Banks does it better.
I can name you lists of people that have sold for him and made that thing look like you said, about to rip their head off their shoulders. Booker T was one of them. He's probably one of my favorite because him and Eddie and Chris Jericho. I mean, we can keep going. Rey Mysterio, all the people have sold the shit out of the crossface. That's one thing. Two, I think Batista was legitimately pissed that John kicked out of that powerbomb when he caught him, because he caught him flush and he kicked out. He was like, man, motherfucker. And he picked him up and powerbombed his ass out where I was sitting. I swear to you, yeah, you could feel him putting Cena through that mat. And after the match, just seeing his face, like, this motherfucker, man. I'm tired of his ass. So, yes, like you, finally, somebody beat Super Cena. And fun fact, I was at Raw the next night because Raw was in Chicago, well, Rosemont at the Allstate Arena. So I did attend the next night. I thought they would have a face-off, but they didn't. All they had was a backstage exchange where Cena went up to Batista and he told him, he said, hey, good match last night. You were the better man last night. But that was last night. And of course, after that, Cena went away because these two men, as the thing with like Rob said, when you got two big guys and you're hitting and you're working stiff, you're gonna have injuries. John Cena legitimately broke his neck in that match. Batista tore his hamstrings in that match. If you look at the Batista bomb, he's not really executing it. It was still good, but you can see he's standing up. He didn't sit down. He always sits down. That's the move. It's a sit-out powerbomb. He didn't sit down because he tore his hamstrings. And he worked the match the next night, by the way, against Dolph Ziggler. So, yeah, just a testament. I've always thought that Batista was underutilized when he was white hot. It's just a constant thing with WWE. Somebody gets white hot, does everything the right way, but nah. And he never got proper merchandise either. Never.
No, he did.
He had his shirts were terrible.
Mm-hmm. I wanted Batista merch, but they didn't have shit.
They didn't have shit. Me and Rob talked about this all the time.
They had nothing.
I would love to buy a Batista shirt, but they don't have anything good.
It was always bad.
It's just his face on the shirt. Like, I could buy that shit at Walmart if
I could make that.
But Cena got armbands and wristbands and hats and jerseys and all this other shit. Whatever. Let's get to the best match of the night. And I have no problem saying that right now because watching it back, I don't remember everything that happened in the match. Like, certain things I totally forgot about. So it was a pleasant surprise to see it all happen, unfold again. Talking Undertaker versus Edge, Hell in a Cell, and I felt proud that I was there. If I felt like Books, for example, and say I just wasn't having a good time, just the pay-per-view wasn't working for me, this would have made it worth it. It would have made it worth it. This was awesome. Instant classic for me. I'm going to put it out there now. It's classic. I'll hold up there. Top 5 Hell in a Cells for me. I was there. It was my very first Hell in a Cell match seen in person. And these two went at it. Edge. It's a testament to Edge. Because not only did he pretty much carry the match, and when I say carry this time, I don't mean that Undertaker didn't do his job. I just mean Edge was everywhere. He was all over this thing. if you watch the entrance, he has that crazed look in his eye because Mick Foley told him, you can't be the Rated R superstar when you go in this match. You have to be that Edge that faced me at WrestleMania. You have to be crazy Edge. And he was. He lost his fucking mind. I mean, Spear and Taker through the cell to Spear and Taker through tables. There was so many spots in this match. Beating Taker down with steel chair, throwing the steel steps at Taker. All this stuff, man. I mean, he tried everything to beat Taker in this match. And it just didn't work because he's the dead man. And the dead man put some serious hurt on Edge. That choke slam through those two tables. Oh, man, I remember sitting in my seat going, God damn, this is awesome. We were so, the arena was loud for this match. This was outside of WrestleMania. I can't recall having this much fun watching a match in an arena. I mean, it was absolutely insane because we couldn't believe it, especially when he got speared through the cage, and that where it broke out almost hit those announcers. I could see it from where I was sitting, that inches from hitting JR in the head, inches. And when he speared Edge through, when Edge speared Taker through that table, we all thought Edge was going to win because he was really taking it to him. But was not to be. Taker just stood fast, put that tombstone on Edge, and that would not be it. He beat him, did his walkout, and I'm sure Book caught this. They didn't turn the lights out when he left. So you knew that wasn't going to be it. Turn around, said, nah. He could see on the Titantron Edge getting up. Said, nah. No. I got to go back. That ain't enough. 2 ladders, choke slam, through the ring. We ain't done there. You going to hell, buddy. And I mean you going to hell. And when the flames shot up out of that ring, even where I was sitting, you could feel the fire. We were all like, holy shit, because we're there. So we could see Edge go through the ring. And then the fire came really shortly after. It wasn't like some big gap. It was almost instant. And I was in awe. I was in awe. That is how you send me home, with my jaw on the floor. That's how you do it. That is how you fucking do it. And I'll talk about all the stuff that happened after all that once y'all grade it. But there's nothing else I could give this. This was, I almost, WWE wise, I don't know a more match that I had more fun watching in person than this one. Maybe Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels retirement match. Maybe I'll put that up there with it. But this was absolute epic. It was epic. So, Rob,
instant classic for me, for all the same reasons. I just love how Edge can really get into his characters. The whole build up to this match, Undertaker had been out. Vicky had caught Edge cheating with Alicia Fox, who, was just coming in to WWE at the time. As revenge, she reinstates Undertaker, tells Edge, you're going to have to wrestle Hell in a Cell, and Edge just snaps. We see the segment with Mick Foley, and Edge just becomes this character. He carries that all the way into the ring, all the way through the match, and he is so convincing in the role. It's not just his wrestling ability, the reason we love Edge. We love him because, man, this guy can just embody these characters, carry it into the ring. Now, obviously, I'm rooting for Taker. I can't, there's very few times I think I've ever rooted against Taker. And when you look, like I say, Hell in the Cell matches, certain matches require a certain level of violence in them. I'm not a guy who loves a lot of violence, but this is Hell in a Cell. It's Edge and it's Taker. There are certain expectations that come when you booked that match. I feel that this match met all of those expectations without taking it too far. Now, for me, too far. Maybe for some people, not far enough. Maybe for some people, too far. For me, they took it just as far as it needed to go. It had all of the animosity and all of the violence that this match would need. It had all the good wrestling ability you think it would need. It told a great story. However, because I wasn't there in person, I guess the effect of the finale, well, not the finale of the match, the aftermatch, to me felt kind of hokey. They climbed the ladder and it felt like it just took a little long to happen. It felt like you could just feel like, okay, hey, okay, I'm gonna choke slam you and let me just get you in the right spot, and you know where you need to fall. Or are we good? Are you ready to go? Okay, choke slam, and then the fire. I just thought all that was just
yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, and then the fire coming up out of the ring. I could have done without all of that, and I still would have given this an instant classic. But I'm not going to take the grade down because I didn't think it was so terrible or so bad that it should bring it down. And I could see how this being the last match of the night, like you said, you want to leave the people going home with an ah moment. If I'd have been there in person, I probably would have appreciated it more than I did just watching it back on Peacock. But instant classic nonetheless.
First, a toast to Taker and Edge. You saved the pay-per-view because at this point, this pay-per-view was absolute ass. And I would have been tempted to leave had I been there with such shit. But Taker and Edge brought it home as only they could. One already in the Hall of Fame, deservingly so, overly deservingly so, and the other without a doubt will be there. And if I'm not there, I will go postal. This was an absolute instant classic. Give me a break. First of all, Taker I've already said it. He's my number 2 guy. Other than the guy who's number 1, who ironically is the guy who Rob is wearing his shirt. The Hot Rod, the Hot Scott. So it takes a lot to be, Taker is a respectable number 2, but it's just barely. Taker is the man, and Edge, I mean, they did such an amazing job in this match. Could it have been more brutal? Of course it could have been. That doesn't bother me any. But what they did was just good enough as well. This was absolutely brutal. When that cage went out into the crowd, I remember watching that. It snapped at such a moment. I'm like, did that hit a fan? Because it was so just out of the woodwork. But I'm like, okay, obviously they know this spot's going to happen. They had to create some separation right there. So there's no possible way that that's going to hit a fan. But JR, they showed a segment where he just reaches out and he touches. He's not having to move. He doesn't move. He just reaches his arm out and he's touching the cage. So I'm like, that got probably pretty close to him, though. Even though he probably knew that was going to happen, he probably still got the shock of his life when that thing just shot down. The ending doesn't bother me one damn bit. Did it maybe take long? Maybe, but I do not care. When it comes to Undertaker, that shit does not bother me one damn bit. Take as much time as you want. The match was so enjoyable. Take all the time you want because I already was enjoying it. This was the one match that saved the whole pay-per-view. Loved every second of it. Edge, I think even though he gets a lot of credit, it's less credit than he deserves because he deserves more credit. The man is amazing. He's absolutely amazing. He's amazing in the ring. He's amazing on the mic. He sells a match. He doesn't even have to talk and he'll sell that match just with his eyes. He can sell the match. Those moments when he's in there in the corner doing a spear, even though the spear itself is fucking ugly, I love when he's in that corner doing that damn spear because he just sells it all right there. He's got the ultimate crazy eyes. So this was damn entertaining, quite brutal. I love the fact it still kind of cracks me up when they hit each other with the damn camera. This was just amazing, and you could tell that they took a bit of a beating in this, and Taker might have taken the bigger of the two beatings, but it just proves how they always say it, how tough the Undertaker is. He is the toughest man maybe in the history of the WWE. He's just so damn tough. This was amazing, awesome, instant classic. I enjoyed every second of it. And Eric, I'm glad you got to see that match. That is how you should remember Undertaker. For you personally, because you got to see it with your own eyes, that should be the first image of Undertaker you have, is that. Unless you've seen something even greater than that.
Well,
instant classic. Loved it.
I've been fortunate to see Undertaker multiple times. First time was WrestleMania 24, so that one kind of sticks out a little more. It's the grandest stage of them all. I've also seen Undertaker burn alive, so that's
not good though. That's not good though. That's not good, especially for the guy that burnt him alive.
Well, it was entertaining because here's the thing, and y'all know what I'm talking about. I tend to stick around after the show's over, cameras are off, because I want to, wait till the wrestlers leave, and everybody's going to then I leave. So this was interesting. You chokeslam Edge, do the mat, fire comes up, all that stuff. Start walking down closer to the ring. There's a few of us that stuck around because we were like, nah, I need to see what happens. Yeah, they ain't putting us out, so I need to see Edge either crawl out of the ring or walk back or whatever have you. I will give WWE this. They stay kayfabe until the lights are shut off. And if you don't want to hear how they handled this, stop now. Stop the show now, because it's gonna ruin some of your fandom. Maybe I don't know.
Me, damn it!
You're going behind the curtain. You're going behind the curtain, man.
Breaking that fourth wall, man. Here we go. So those big trunk cases that are in the back with the wheels. So they wheel one of those out and they set it in front of the ring. And I'm sure you could kind of tell that's where he crawled in, and they wheeled him out. And everybody was chanting, "Thank you, Edge." So at least we did that for him. But we knew anybody's stupid, So that was a pretty cool moment. But that was how that night ended, and I drove 2.5 hours back in the pitch black dark Indiana. I-65. Thank you. Put some fucking lights up for once, Jesus. So yeah, that was the show. Only 7 matches. That's one good thing about doing retros. They're not 16, 17 matches long.
Yeah, we don't have to do a part 1 and a part 2.
Yeah.
Good old days.
Yeah. Yep. I know it was could go one way or the other with this pay-per-view. It's either gonna hit or it's gonna miss. Honestly though, most of Bliss grade, I don't disagree with, so to speak. Maybe the Batista Cena match, that's probably the one I disagree on. But other than that, I could see his point. I still had a hell of a time, and you sent me home, the best way you possibly could. You pulled out all the stops. That's all I can ask for. So, yep. Where are we at now? Oh, we're about 2 weeks away from this year's SummerSlam, shaping up pretty well. Some stuff we've kind of known about for a while, Cena and Roman, we've known about that for a while. We most of us wanted Brock and Lashley, but I guess we're just never going to get that. It's going to be the new Sting Undertaker. We're just never going to get it. But I'll say this, and it's all I really can say. Goldberg looks the part, like he usually does, but he looks more the part this time, so to speak. So if nothing else, it'll be a spectacle, and that's all I can hope for. I'm kind of with Rob. I think the best match of the night is probably going to be Sasha and Bianca so far of what they've announced.
Well,
It could be Edge and Rollins.
I think it'll be Edge and Seth Rollins.
yeah, I'm looking forward
Could
to
be
Edge
that.
and Rollins. Now that it's official, I think that one could be the show stealer.
Yeah, it'll be Edge and Seth Rollins.
I just feel like Sasha and Bianca have an actual feud. Like they have actual history now. There's the whole thing with Sasha coming back and betraying her, like all that played out really well. So I think I just have more intrigue with that than Edge and Rollins looks manufactured. Well, we can't put y'all in the main event. We can do this though. That's what it looks like. So, and I don't know if y'all watch SmackDown. I think we might be getting a triple threat. That's how it's looking.
Oh, with Finn Balor?
That's how it's looking.
I'd be okay with that.
Finn Balor deserves it.
Yeah, you can't, like I said on the last show me and Rob did, you cannot do him like that. That is the ultimate dirt. That's like,
they've already done him dirty.
You going on prom and you got, prom queen, beautiful hair down her ass, TNA, all that stuff. And they pull the plug on you at the last minute and say, nope. You've got Miss Mathematician over here with the glasses and flat back and all that stuff. I mean, you went from sitting at the table with Roman Reigns, and Roman is putting you over, to Baron Corbin.
Don't remind me of the
Well,
human
he fought
diarrhea bag.
Corbin on SmackDown, so I don't think that'll happen at SummerSlam.
Thank you. They can't do that. So they didn't bring him back on TV to not do nothing with him. So this has got to be a triple threat.
Better don't put him in there with Baron Corbin. Please don't.
Well, look, I don't
Please
care
don't.
either way. Roman's gonna, if it's a triple threat, he's
still gonna win. Yeah.
Pin him. Just
Yeah,
like
he'll
he did.
still win.
Smash
Stack 'em.
him. Stack him.
Just do it
Pin
without the Usos.
He's the best thing currently. I won't say he's the best wrestler. I'm not going to say he's the best wrestler.
No.
But he has the best gimmick right now.
Who, Roman?
Yeah.
Roman
Hands
is
down.
the best thing in WWE right now.
Hands down.
There's
Hands
nothing
down.
even close.
No.
Raw is a complete dumpster fire. Haven't even seen Asuka in the past couple of weeks. Charlotte is doing her thing. She's great.
Charlotte's pretty damn good.
On SmackDown, you've got Roman and you've got Edge.
You got
and
Edge.
Come on, man. In WWE,
Smack-
what's better in WWE than Roman right now?
Roman's got the most backing behind him. I totally
He's the best
agree.
thing going in
But
WWE.
the reason
But
why the
he's not
backing's
the-
behind him,
But
there's
he's
a
not
reason,
but he's not the
whether
best
you're
to me.
Cena, whether
the
you're
best to
Roman,
me.
there's a reason you get the backing behind you. It's because you're over and they
He's
won't
over.
ride it.
But
Okay.
I would put
Hold on,
somebody
wait.
over him.
Hold on, wait. I got to put them feet to the fire then.
Oh Jesus.
Who's the best? If it's not Roman, who is it? I'm just asking. In your opinion. This is your opinion.
For
so
me?
It's not right or wrong. Yeah.
I love Charlotte's doing.
Okay.
I
See,
love
that's
it.
not even a bad choice.
I love
can't
what
argue
Char-
with that.
I love what
I
Charlotte's
like
doing.
that pick. I
I
like
love
that
what
pick.
Charlotte's doing.
I like it. I
Far more.
raved about Charlotte a few podcasts ago,
Far more.
so I like it.
And she brings the
Yeah,
wrestling with it. So for me, it's
Yeah.
Charlotte.
See? Not
If
even
you're
a bad
talking-
choice. Like
If you're talking,
Well, you
Tony
thought I'd say something like Seth Rollins or something?
well, you like him. I don't know.
I love Seth Rollins, but it's Charlotte. To me, it's Charlotte.
Yeah. Charlotte's doing some of the best work you've ever seen in wrestling, period. I'm sorry. It is hard. It's hard enough just with us three when we're talking about something we're passionate about to get, talk over each other. She talked over 14,000 people and got that damn promo out.
hey man, that's not the first time she's had to shut people down chanting
Mhm.
Becky. A couple of weeks before that, they were chanting Becky. She says Becky is at home breastfeeding while
Yeah.
I am here in the ring being
Yep.
your champion. Yeah, I mean, shut 'em
Charlotte-
down.
Charlotte.
Shut 'em down.
Some people may not remember Charlotte when she first came in. Her mic skills were horrific.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were bad. really
Her-
bad.
Her wrestling wasn't that good either.
The height of how bad it was that night in Scotland when the crowd was just over shouting her with the Bailey chants. They just completely silenced her, and she had nothing to say. The growth that she has shown on that mic, you can put her in there as one of the best on the mic. She is stuff that woman is doing is absolutely Hall of Fame epic. So for me, it is totally Charlotte Flair.
Good choice.
I can't even knock you for that one. That's good. And that's the thing. You've got those two, and honestly, I got to agree with Rob. You could really make a strong argument that she's the best in the whole company. You really could, because what she did for Nikki ASH on Raw says a lot. I mean, that match was awesome, and I really can't say that it was because of Nikki. Now, she did some good stuff.
But it's because of Charlotte.
She did some good stuff.
It's Charlotte.
Let's keep it real.
It's Charlotte.
Charlotte did the damn thing. This wasn't Charlotte and Becky where it was 50-50. This was Charlotte carrying the match, putting Nikki over, making Nikki a bigger deal, and that's what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have a match on the biggest pay-per-views of the whole year, this year probably the biggest one, because unlike Mania, they're going to have a full arena, full stadium. You have to put over your opponent. That's part of wrestling. That is part of wrestling that is missing. See, we're so quick to put down our opponent, and the problem with that is when you make your opponent look this small, it's like, well, why the fuck are you trying to wrestle them then? Make them a big deal, bring them up, put yourself up here too, but you have to make it seem like. Now, the thing about it is Charlotte is going to make, Nikki seem like not a big deal on the mic. But when you watch her work in the ring, it is unmistakable that she respects Nikki. She put her over. Nikki won that match clean. Clean. It's a short list of people that pinned Charlotte one-on-one in a full match. Clean. Okay?
In fact, I got to say this because I reached a point just last week, and you might get a kick out of this. To me, Charlotte Flair is the best in the world. Period.
He said that too.
I said
Period.
it. I
Period.
Said that.
Period.
I said it.
I love Kenny Omega. I will not ever stop loving Kenny Omega. But to me, Charlotte Flair, hands down, is the best in the world. Women, man, past, present, future, the best in the world.
Thank you.
And everyone who watches wrestling, who wants to get into it, that's who you need to watch. Whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, watch Charlotte Flair. That's how you do it. Hands down, the best in the world is Charlotte fucking Flair. Hail to the queen.
Thank you.
I've said it. Our first show when 3GW started was Evolution, because we refused to start our podcast on a Saudi Arabia show. That was just not going to happen. Yeah, that was the first crown jewel. We were not going to start our podcast
that
with
one.
that one.
Yeah, that was a good choice.
Yeah. And I still, to this day, will go back and watch Charlotte versus Becky on that pay-per-view. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I had no words.
Charlotte's
I almost
amazing.
want to go back. One of these days, we got to go back and rewatch it and re-retrospect that shit. Because, obviously, the way we do podcasts now has grown. We have YouTube now, and we just do things different. I think it'd just be interesting to see. So, one of these days, that will be a retro. That match is one of the best damn wrestling matches I've ever seen. I didn't care that it was two women. They absolutely, positively killed that shit. And as over as Becky was, the crowd still gave Charlotte her respect because they knew
she's earned
they
it.
both went out there and tried to kill it for them. And nobody talks about anything else from that show. Nobody. Nothing else is important from that show. Just that match. That's it. I don't remember anything else from that show. I really don't. I know Ronda was on the show. I know the Bella Twins were on the show. So Trish Stratus was on the show. So what? Don't care. That's the match. That's all I cared about.
It's scary how good she is. It is scary how good she is. I mean, it's just
awesome.
It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous how good she is. Just she deserves the title queen.
Definitely escaped her father's shadow. So
she is.
And
you can argue she's dwarfed
not
it.
Not an easy thing to do, and especially being female.
No,
she's dwarfed it. And no, that's all respect to Ric Flair. All respect to Flair.
No,
but his wrestling ability was not nearly at the level that Charlotte's is. So she's just amazing. And I'm sure Ric Flair is just proud as could be at how amazing his daughter is. Just amazing. I'm glowing with how Charlotte is. She's just amazing. And for me to say it over Kenny, come on. I love Kenny.
Right.
But I got to be real.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate y'all for listening. Hope you enjoyed the passion here tonight. I don't normally get like that, but God, that motherfucker seen it.
Can't wait for the next thing we'll be talking about then.
Yeah. Yeah, so coming up, obviously, SummerSlam of this year, current 2021, that will be coming up soon. August 21st. Unfortunately, I have my
it's a Saturday.
Military duties that weekend. I swear WWE and the military are playing games with me because WrestleMania, I had drill. Now SummerSlam, I got a drill. It's not the end of the world this time because I don't have company, but I'd rather be in my house behind my bar having a drink, watching on my big screen, than sit in the hotel room watching on this little screen. But it is what it is. There'll be a post show and a video for that. And also coming up, Rob and myself will be reviewing the Suicide Squad because, hey, not only is there a wrestler in the movie, a stars in it, that is part of 3GW now as well, reviewing current movies. So we'll be doing that.
Enjoy it.
Also, we'll be starting the Rocky series toward the end of the month.
That I can't wait for.
Meaning, we'll be starting with The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, all his movies. Starting with the Scorpion King.
No, he's not the other one. He's not the other one. I knew what you meant, but he was thinking Stallone.
His face.
He was thinking Stallone.
No. Dwayne Johnson.
Okay then. Okay.
Going into the 3GW, the Rocky series, kicking off with Scorpion King from 2002 or 2001. I can't remember. But that's the first one. That'll be the last weekend of this month. So the weekend after SummerSlam, we'll be doing that.
You ain't gonna make us watch Tooth Fairy, are you?
It's part of the series.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
I've never seen that one.
And I will admit, I've never seen it.
I have.
I don't want to.
It's not good. It's really not good.
Well, the ones that aren't good make for the best show. So cheers to that. Make sure you check out our other movie reviews in the Mortal Kombat series. We're going to get back to that pretty soon. We got a couple other movies for that. The animated movies that came out. I think Robin Book will get a kick out of those. And then, check out Money in the Bank. The Doc was on recently again. He's back on the show.
Welcome back, Doc.
Fight for the Fallen. And that's pretty much it. That's what we got going. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, share, comment below. Let us know what you think of the show. Let us know if there's a retrospective you want us to do, and we will do it. We have done it for other followers, other listeners. So we will continue to do so as requested. And thank you, Book, for joining us tonight. And per usual, we will let the ambassador take us home.
Listeners, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Let's hear from you. Look, we thought we got rid of COVID, but COVID is back. It's getting stronger. The only way that we're going to beat this thing is to get vaccinated. Folks, the vaccinations are a lot less harmful than the virus. I don't know why that's so hard to understand. I've had both of my shots, and I'm
starting
good.
now. And not to piggyback, United Airlines, as much shit as they've gotten over the last few years, deservedly so, they just put out that every single employee has until, I want to say, October to get vaccinated, or you can go find another job. You will be terminated immediately. This is on their site. You will be terminated immediately if you do not get vaccinated by this date. Proof of vaccination, card in hand. Let me tell y'all something. These companies, these million-dollar companies are not going back to last year. Not that there's a vaccine now. Either you get the shit or your ass ain't working. Point blank period. They're not taking a hit because guess what? The government said we're not giving any more buyouts. We're not giving any more handouts. You figure it out. Either you make your employees get the shot or figure it out. So they're saying get the damn shot or go get an unemployment line. Period. And that's going to get people's asses in line for the fucking shot. Stop playing around with this, okay?
Amen.
You think
Great.
getting a shot and having symptoms for 4 hours is bad? You think you're lab rats? You really think you're lab rats? Let me tell you something, okay? When the damn church and the casino close at the same time, it's real, damn it. Forget the government. Think about the stuff, small stuff. The church and casinos closed. That means God and the devil said, nope. Okay? So stop with all this. Well, I don't know about it. I don't like needles. Stop. Okay? Enough. Especially if you have a family.
Yeah.
Enough.
I don't like needles, y'all. Fucking do it. Just fucking do it. It takes like a second. Just do it. Do it.
I lost a sister to this thing, okay? So it's personal for me. People think about it, really.
Seriously.
It's the easiest thing in the world.
You're going to lose your livelihood because you don't want to get a shot. You think it's the government. I'm sorry. It's not. It's not. As much as people were divided on Trump, he got it. Okay? That goofball motherfucker got it. So guess what? You're not immune to getting it. And if you think I'm playing, the symptoms and not even this, it's not even just having it. It's after effects. There's people that I know that I work with that are having serious life-threatening after having COVID. They're having a lot of problems after having it. Life-threatening issues. So seriously, we don't say this to be mean. I'm not going off to be mean. I'm saying it because we need to get back to normal. And our economy relies on us being able to go to work at the end of the day. Not everybody can work from home. I don't work from home. My wife doesn't work from home. We have to go out in the world. So
do it. Somebody very close to me got it. And I won't say who it is, but somebody got close to me got it.
Go get vaccinated. All right. Thank you all for watching. We'll speak to you all again in a few days. And take care. Do what we said. Get vaccinated.